Hello, everyone. This is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to you some very exciting news for all of the fans of the Spider Man 90s cartoon. We are going to be getting a brand new tie in comic book series called Spider Man 94, which has been announced and confirmed, and it is set to be released later this year for 2025. Now, this is huge news for everyone, including myself. We are finally going to be getting a definitive conclusion to the Spider Man 90s animated series, which ended after season 5 on a massive cliffhanger with Madam Web vowing to help Spider Man find Mary Jane Watson, who, as we all remembered, went missing at the end of season 3 after a violent battle on the Brooklyn Bridge between Spider Man and the Green Goblin. So, for me, this is a huge deal. I have often said in the past I would like to see a tie in comic book series to the 90s cartoon or an actual show. Now, I'm not going to lie, I would have much preferred if we had gotten another season, maybe Spider Man 98, perhaps, similar to what they did for the X Men 90s cartoon with X Men 97, which, by the way, was absolutely fantastic. Loved every second of that show. But, I can't complain that much. At least we're getting something. Who knows? Maybe if Spider Man 94 is a huge success, which I think the odds on that are very high, then we could see a Spider Man 98 animated series. Because for all of you hardcore geeks out there will remember, we did get an X Men 92 comic book series, which lasted for a number of runs, and that eventually led to X Men 97 on Disney Plus. So never say never, guys. Fingers crossed we could possibly get a Spider Man 98 cartoon if this comic book does well. There is, however, one little downside to it. Unfortunately, the show's creator, John Semper Jr., will not be involved in this comic book series, which is a shame, really, because I would have loved to have had his input in this comic book series. He was, in many ways, responsible for giving us what we now know as the Spider Verse. So it would have been nice to have had him involved, even if he wasn't writing the stories. Just would have been nice to have had him there, but who knows, really? But let's hope Spider Man 94 honors and pays homage to the creative spirit of John Semper Jr. Let's just hope this comic book run does John Semper Jr.'s work justice. And from my understanding, Spider Man 94 is going to be a four-part mini comic book series. So it will be 4 issues. And hopefully, if this does well, maybe Spider Man 94 could turn into a ongoing comic book series. You never know. If it does, I'd like to see a lot of the stuff that we were supposed to get for season 6 if the show had continued. You know, there was a possibility of Carnage bonding with Jack the Ripper after Spider Man ends up in the Victorian times trying to look for Mary Jane. I think that would have been really cool. There was an idea of having Richard Fisk as the Rose, Kingpin finally getting put behind bars thanks to Daredevil. There's all sorts of things I heard. Sandman could appear, the Beetle could appear, a team up with the Incredible Hulk. I'm not saying that we could see all of this stuff in Spider Man 94. Bear in mind, we've only got 4 issues, so who knows? Maybe they're just going to purely concentrate on Spider Man finding the real Mary Jane and going from there. Maybe that's all we're getting, but I'm happy with that. This has been a long time coming. We've been begging and pleading. As I said earlier, I would have much preferred if we had got an animated series for Disney Plus like X-Men 97, but you never know. We could still see that, but time will tell, really. But the very fact that we are finally getting something for the 90s cartoon after all these years, that in itself is cause for celebration. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Let's hope, fingers crossed, this four-part issue run does the 90s animated series the justice that it truly deserves. Because for such an iconic cartoon like Spider Man, which was a huge part of Fox Kids, for it to just end on a massive cliffhanger and not be resolved. Bear in mind, Spider Man the animated series ended in 1998. That's 27 years ago. It's nuts, So the very fact it's just been sitting there for all these years, nobody has tried to do anything to resolve the ending, was quite sad. But finally, after all these years, something is happening, and it's something to look forward to. It's something to get excited about. So I'm happy that we're getting this. As I said, would have been much better if we had got an animated series, but I look at it like this: it's better than nothing. What would you rather have? Nothing or a comic book series? Obviously, I know you guys, like me, would much prefer a show, but a comic book series, for me, that's a win as far as I'm concerned. So, anyway, that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. How do you guys feel about a brand new Spider Man 94 comic book series? Are you excited? Would you have preferred if it was an animated series for the Disney Plus? Do you think this could lead to Spider Man 94 becoming an ongoing comic book series? What do you think we will see in this four-issue run? Do you think we'll get a definitive conclusion to the ending of season 5? And also, what things would you like to see in this four-issue run? Would you like to see some of the stuff that we were supposed to get for season 6? Or would you like to see new stuff that we have never seen before? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.